The issue I have chosen to analyze is mining processes and its environmental effects, more specifically its effects on water and nearby streams. Mining and its environmental effects is a very large topic, so I decided to zoom into how it affects water, aquatic life, and even people who live close to mining sites. Chemistry contents connected to this issue involve the pollution of water from mining excavation, which can vary depending on which minerals are being excavated. Some concepts covered in class include the formation of new compounds involving synthesis reactions in Chapter 4 and the formation of acids like sulfuric acid covered in Chapter 10. Application for ionic compounds and polyatomic ions are also present in reactions like the formation of manganese hydroxide when exposed magnesium reacts with water in rivers or lakes, and the formation of sulfuric acid when sulfides interact with water. Now that we've established the concepts learned in class, it is important to have a better understanding of the real-life application of these concepts and its effects specifically during mining. There are 4 main types of impacts mining has on water. The first type of impact is acid mine drainage. Production of sulfuric acid happens when sulfides are exposed to water and air from excavation. Rainwater brings the acid leaching from rocks in the mine site into nearby streams and lakes, affecting the quality of water. Once water from streams or nearby lakes become more acidic from exposure to sulfides, a type of bacteria known as Stylobacillus peroxidans can appear, further speeding up oxidation and acidification in the water. This can occur naturally with rocks, however mining does this on a bigger scale. Next, we have heavy metal contamination. This type of contamination involves pollution from metals like arsenic, lead, cobalt, or copper, just to name a few, that become exposed to water. When these metals come in contact with water, parts of it leaches out, potentially polluting rivers or lakes. Mining companies will sometimes use chemicals such as cyanide or sulfuric acid to try to separate a mineral from its ore. Sometimes these chemicals spill and leak out into the environment and are toxic to wildlife and other people. This is known as processing chemicals pollution. The last type of impact mining has on water is erosion and sedimentation. If proper strategies are not put in place, erosion can carry large quantities of sediment into riverbeds, clogging them up and hurting aquatic life and vegetation. Many communities around the world are greatly affected by mining. One example of a local community affected by mining is the community of Hwange, located in Zimbabwe. The Deka River in Zimbabwe, South Africa, is greatly affected by mining, and the aquatic life and local residents living in Hwange have been major stakeholders. In this community, the people rely heavily on the Deka River as a source of food, water, and to make baskets from reeds growing in the river. High amounts of manganese and nickel have been found in the water, and according to experts who sampled the water for quality, the water is no longer safe for consumption. Here is a brief video of the Hwange residents talking about the effects of chemicals in their water.
Sometimes we see water green or
yellow,
blue, yellow,
and the fish
we find fish dead. That's why we want some boreholes in our areas, in our villages, so that we can drink good water.
Although the residents didn't directly say what was inside the water, previous parts of the video reveal that magnesium and nickel have been found inside the water. Magnesium reacts with water to make magnesium hydroxide. Nickel, however, doesn't dissolve in water, but exists in small amounts. Many fish in the river have also been found dead from high levels of metal pollution. The coal mine and thermal power plants are responsible for providing around 40% of the country's electricity, making them important parts of the country. People who rely on the river try their best to advocate and spread awareness regarding what is being done in hopes for a better future for their children. Communities near mining sites are very clearly negatively affected by mining. However, it is too soon to jump to a plausible conclusion. A reasonable thing to do in this situation would be to consider all of the perspectives of different people and come to a reasonable conclusion. Locals living near the site are the first stakeholders on my list. Their lives and potential food sources are at stake. They're possibly against mining, however they may also be okay with it in some cases as it provides jobs for their children. For miners, profits and wages are at stake. Miners are probably for mining because it's literally their job and they need it to make a living. For mining companies, profits are also at stake. Similar to their employees, they're definitely for mining because they need to do it to make a living. Aquatic life and animals are probably not so happy because their lives and homes are at stake. And they're definitely against mining because they don't benefit at all and suffer terrible consequences. The government is partially involved and in some cases would be considered a stakeholder. If mining companies don't do well, parts of the economy and the country's energy supply could be at stake. The government is probably for mining, however it is not inherently clear. If the government chooses to prioritize profits, the economy, and energy over the lives of people and the environment in a particular area, they would perhaps be okay with environmental destruction and vice versa. Lastly, the perspective for consumers. For consumers, the product they want to buy may be at stake. Based on the success of the mining company with their ores and resources, consumers who need metals for jewelry or technology may need certain amounts to keep their businesses going. If a commoner was buying, they have a chance of not being able to buy their desired products. However, their viewpoints as to whether they're for or against mining is very dependent on the individual. After closely examining all of the different viewpoints of the stakeholders, I will share my conclusion. Mining and its environmental consequences is a controversial topic, and I think both sides, the miners and the locals, have reasonable points. In my opinion, miners and mining companies should make more of an effort to clean up the damage they do, although I understand this isn't always realistic. Mining companies don't benefit from cleaning up the waters and damage they leave behind, and implementation is costly and time-consuming. In order to ensure the health and safety of locals affected by mining, I think it's only reasonable if the government pays mining companies to clean up the mess they make, and do so based on how well the area is restored, potentially through tax dollars. Using tax money is justified because the people who pay taxes are essentially paying for the well-being of their country and its environment. Although this may not affect them right away, improving the environment will help them in the long run. I believe mining companies need to prioritize the well-being of locals over the profit they make from ores, and the government needs to take more initiative aiding these companies and taking care of the environment. Mining is very much necessary for a multitude of reasons, from the minerals necessary for electricity and power to the device I'm using to record this video. Mining cannot simply be removed without negatively affecting billions of people, which leads me to believe the most reasonable solution would be for mining companies to make more of an effort cleaning up the mess they create. Thank you so much for watching this, and I hope you enjoyed this video because it really took a very long time to make those pictures. As bad as they look, they took a very long time to draw. And yeah, happy marking.